welcome to my channel, Steve the Window Cleaner. Today, today is actually a snow day for me. I want to talk about an important subject about what you want versus what you need for your window cleaning company. Different tools, and then like a CRM, employees or non-employees, kind of a lot, but very broad at the same time. I think one of the most important things is that you do not need all of the fancy tools that we use in a lot of our videos. I'm talking about like myself, Luke, Jordy, Tradman, A. Macintosh. A lot of this stuff you don't need. Like say, a big thing right now is, not really a big thing right now, but gutter vacuums. Gutter vacuums are becoming a bigger thing. I think they're bigger in the UK than here in America, but I could be wrong. You don't need a gutter vacuum to have a gutter cleaning service, right? You could have a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket and some trash bags in your hands and a few ladders, and you could really pretty much get everything done. If you want to make it easier, right, you could get some of the tools out there like gutter vacs, or there's a thing that goes on the end of a pole that you can like shove the stuff through the gutters with. There's that as well. Like with water fed pole, do you need a 2 or a 4-stage water purification system? You don't. You don't need double ROs. You don't need a carbon filter before your deionization. Really, all you need is a DI tank. Now, if you live somewhere where you have extremely hard water, then obviously you're going to go through that DI resin super fast, but you do not need at first, when you open your window cleaning company, to buy a $4,000 or $2,000 system just to get into water fed. You could just get a DI tank, get a simple 20-foot carbon fiber pole or an aluminum extension pole, and start on water fed. You don't need to buy an expensive pole, an expensive unit. Squeegee wise, I think is the biggest thing, in that I used to work for a window cleaning company where I never changed my rubber for like over a year and a half. Why? Because the person I was working for didn't know any better either, so we were just, doing whatever we really wanted to do, but we still got by. Somehow we still got by. I always look back at that. And I think that's just because it was a service that people didn't want to do, so we did like an okay job, so people were cool with it, and our prices were extremely cheap, right? But we didn't have any fancy tools. We were doing homes only, but like the biggest mop I had was like a 10-inch mop. I don't know what brand it was. It didn't swivel. We never used poles because we didn't know how to use poles, right? You don't have to use poles when window cleaning. Now, it is kind of a necessity after you learn it, but you don't need it. You could do a storefront with step ladders and stack ladder, or a 20-foot ladder if you needed, right? You don't have to use a pole, but a pole is something I want to make the job quicker. So you kind of have to decide, what you need to what you want. I saw someone make a video like a long time ago saying like they didn't need fancy tools. I'm not calling out anybody in this video, but they didn't need fancy tools, and I completely agree. But your tools are what make you, as far as how it's going to make the job easier, right? Do you need a huge Sorbo 72-inch eliminator squeegee? Probably not. I mean, there are some really gimmicky tools out there that you do not need. Do you need a 90-foot water-fed pole, in your shed of tools? Probably not. Probably something better to do is just rent out a lift when you're doing a job big enough like that, and use a lift and just charge the customer for the lift, right? Do you need water fed at all? No, you really don't. You could always outsource people for rope work if you have a building too big, ladder from what you can reach, right? I mean, there's so many ways to do window cleaning, and that what you need versus what you want is really how far do you kind of want to take your business. But at the same time, there's people out there that have taken their business very far on very basic ideas. And I think that's extremely important to remember when watching some of our videos. And this is basically because of some of the questions that I get, and I can see that people are misunderstanding that oh my gosh, I'm a window cleaner, I need to buy this water fed system right away, and then I'm going to be a window cleaner, right? That's not true. People are going to expect you to clean the insides. What are you going to do inside? Can't use water fed inside. So that's where you need to learn traditional, I think, first, right? You want to go to water fed immediately because of how it can make jobs easier, but you need to learn how to do traditional, right? You got to put in your time a little bit before you just go right to water fed. You need some way of writing down your schedule, right? You could do your schedule many ways, like Google Calendars, Apple Calendar. You could write it in a book. You could do really old school. You could go that style. You can try new CRMs, such as like Job or House Call Pro, Customer Factor. These are all things that you could try out, but do you need those CRMs? Especially, I think, if you want to grow, if you're just getting into it and there's those resources, I think you should gravitate towards those and use those. If you're really just starting out by yourself and you're not too sure of it, and you're like, I don't know how big I'm going to get, maybe just keep your customer base. And once you find that you're getting to the point where it's not easy to remember things, not easy to remember the organization, then move into a CRM, get all those customers in there where you can add, pictures, you can add information, you can have every transaction you've had with that customer all in one area. Employees can clock in, clock out. Everybody can see from that CRM what's going on. If you're growing, I think to 5 to 6 and going up from there is really when you have to consider using something like a CRM, because it no longer becomes something you wanted. It becomes a need, because you're going to have to organize things in a way that you're not going to have enough time in your day to be able to put out all those things to these different employees. So you need something to kind of help you. And that's what a CRM really does, is it kind of takes away some of those things you're having to worry about, like getting reviews, right? Getting reviews now in a lot of CRMs, you can send them like a survey after that says, hey, what did you think of our service? From 1 to 10, what would you rate it? Jobber has something like that where you can send them like that. And this is not a ploy for Jobber. This is just something they have in it, where you can send them a survey after saying, did you like our service? And then after that, if you really wanted to, you can move into, okay, you liked our service. Could you give us a Google review or a Facebook review or something like that, right? There's so many things out there that I just see people want. Like, people really want to right away get into like swivel tools that, go over fancy the window, but they don't want to take the time to learn it. And they start asking a lot of questions. Well, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And I always tell these people, just put in your time with the tools and kind of learn them as they go. I know plenty of guys who are really fast window cleaners who are super, super basic and do a great job. I take it too far. I think I really, really do, and sometimes I really find I have to scale it back. I have way too many window cleaning tools. Me being able to like partner up with Window Cleaning Resource like over a couple years ago now, and being able to test out a bunch of different stuff was so awesome for me, because I like dealing with all the different tools and seeing all the different things that come out. And that's kind of the basis behind this channel, is tools and techniques. Some people ask me, why won't you put out videos about marketing and stuff like that? And it's like, I just don't really want to do that with my channel, because this is the kind of stuff excites me. It's like we all buy all these swivel squeegees, all these different washer sleeves. You only need one washer sleeve, Well, you don't need only one washer sleeve, but you need like an 18, maybe a 14 and a 6. You don't need 5 18s, 3 14s, 3 6s. I just found that with like holsters getting bigger, like bucket on a belts, like we see the Gunslinger, we see, them making ones that have like, they can carry like 20 tools, and it's like, why do we want that? Like, that's not a need. Like, that's not something that you need. You really only need something that maybe you can hold 2 squeegees, right? But I've just found that I think the biggest part where it comes is water fed pull, where people just are not understanding that you do not need that right away, and you should kind of put your time in. Window cleaning in general, as far as what we're giving to our customers, is a want but not a need. That's one thing you always have to remember about window cleaning. And it's the scary thing about window cleaning, is the reality of window cleaning is that cleaning windows is something that people want. It's not something that people have to do. And that in part becomes the hard part of selling window cleaning. And that if we ever do have where say the economy really drops, window cleaning is kind of the first thing to go for a lot of customers and a lot of people, because it's a want, not a need. And it kind of becomes full circle with window cleaning that you want to have these huge companies, but then find out that all you need is a few good guys or a few good employees or a few good gals to make your company really, really grow. And maybe getting bigger like you wanted wasn't the answer. Or, maybe staying smaller was not the answer and you really needed to get bigger. But this is just kind of to give you perspective on the idea of that you don't need every single tool out there, right? You may want it, but you don't need it. Try to work minimally. But there are some tools you're going to find you need, but don't buy 3 of them. Get the one. Maybe have a backup, say if you have a larger company, but you just, try to make it work with what you got. Now, in saying that, some people will say, well, here's the thing though, is that, to make money, I need to spend money. And that is true. That is true when you find that you're getting to the point where you're, having to be in too many places at once. Maybe it's time to hire someone so that you can be free some of that time to fill in those other gaps, and that could equate to more money, right? So it's just a thing of really figuring out what you want versus what you need. And I hope this has kind of helped just give you perspective on that you do not need every tool that's out there. You do not need every fancy pole. Like, you don't need a carbon fiber traditional pole for help you for storefronts, but it's super, super nice, and it's nicer in the winter, it's nicer in the summer, it's nicer as far as being more rigid, and you could definitely just buy Unger Optlock poles, but what you may find is the cheaper ones are going to break sooner than the nicer ones, right? So it's just, where are you with your business? What can you afford versus what you can afford? I think that's a lot of what we do in this generation, is that we try to go for things we really can't afford, and don't hold ourselves back. And that's just knowing the difference in between what you want versus what you need. So I hope this has kind of been a good perspective. I hope you all are having a good week. We're having our first snow days here. So talk to you soon. Goodbye.